Have you ever watched someone completely detonate a relationship, blow it to smithereens, and then turn around with this bewildered look on their face? Like a dog who just knocked over the Christmas tree and genuinely cannot figure out why everyone's upset. They didn't mean to cause chaos, they were just being themselves. And somehow, in their version of events, they're the victim, every single time. Maybe it's a coworker who stirs drama in every meeting but complains the office is toxic. Maybe it's a family member who leaves every gathering feeling wronged even though they were the one who started the argument. Or maybe, and stay with me here, maybe it's someone a little closer to the mirror than you'd like to admit. Here's the uncomfortable truth psychology has been quietly sitting on. Toxic behavior and self-awareness almost never share the same room. And it's not random. It's not a coincidence. There are very specific, very fascinating psychological mechanisms that keep destructive people absolutely convinced they're the good guy in their own story. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on exactly how that works and why understanding it might change how you see yourself, the people around you, and even the quiet wars inside your own head. Picture this. Someone you know has a story, a really good one. It involves a terrible boss, a jealous ex, a backstabbing friend, a parent who never understood them. The cast changes, but the plot never does. They are wronged, they are misunderstood, they are always the one who suffers. You find yourself nodding along, offering sympathy, until one day you realize you've heard 17 versions of this story with 17 different villains, and the only constant character is them. Psychologists call this an external locus of control, the deeply wired belief that life happens to you rather than because of you. For the eternal victim, this isn't manipulation in the cynical sense, it's genuinely how they experience reality. Their nervous system has learned that vulnerability equals danger, so they outsource the blame before it can land on them. The pain is real. The distortion, though, also real. The tragic irony is that by never owning the role they play, they never get to change it. They stay the protagonist of a story where they're permanently powerless, and somehow, that feels safer than the alternative. Then there's a type who's a little harder to spot, because they come wrapped in something that looks a lot like principle. They fight for fairness. They call things out. They have standards, and they'll remind you of those standards often, loudly, and with a PowerPoint's worth of evidence about why they're right. The righteous crusader isn't wrong about everything. That's what makes them so disorienting. They might genuinely care about justice, but somewhere along the way, moral conviction became a weapon. Every disagreement becomes a referendum on your character. Every pushback is proof of your ignorance. And because they've cast themselves as the defender of truth, any harm they cause is automatically justified by the cause. The psychology here involves something called moral licensing, the phenomenon where doing or believing something good gives the brain permission to behave badly elsewhere. The crusader's sense of righteousness acts like a cosmic get-out-of-jail-free card. They can be cruel, dismissive, or manipulative, and it doesn't register as cruelty. It registers as necessary. After all, you can't make an omelet without cracking a few people. But here's the twist. Some of the most genuinely toxic people you'll ever meet are also some of the most magnetic. The charming revisionist is the person everyone loves at the party, the one with the great laugh and the generous spirit, the one who somehow always has a slightly different memory of events than everyone else in the room. They don't lie exactly, they edit. Conversations get subtly reframed. Their role in an argument gets softened. The part where they said the cutting thing, that part gets fuzzy. And when you bring it up, they look at you with such sincere confusion that you start wondering if your memory is the problem. This is a process psychologists call motivated forgetting, and it's more common than we like to think. The brain, desperate to maintain a coherent self-image, quietly redacts the scenes that don't fit the narrative. For the revisionist, this isn't conscious scheming, it's psychological self-preservation at its most sophisticated. The result, though, is a person who can genuinely look you in the eye, tell you what happened, and be completely wrong, and completely believe themselves. The fragile aggressor. Here's one that might surprise you. People who lash out the most are often the ones who feel the most threatened. The fragile aggressor operates from a reservoir of deep, unprocessed shame. And shame, as researcher Brené Brown has noted, is not the same as guilt. Guilt says I did something bad. Shame says I am bad. And the psyche will do almost anything to avoid sitting with that. So instead of turning inward, the fragile aggressor turns outward. They attack before they can be attacked. They criticize before they can be criticized. They make you feel small so they don't have to feel small first. And when you react, when you finally push back, they point to your reaction as the evidence. See, you're the aggressive one. You're the problem. It's a closed loop, and it's exhausting to be inside of. Understanding it doesn't mean excusing it, but it does explain why confronting someone like this so rarely works, because the aggression isn't logic, it's armor. And finally, the one that hides best of all, the person who genuinely believes they're helping. They give advice that wasn't asked for. They make decisions for your own good. They hover, manage, guide, and redirect, all with a smile, all from a place of love. And if you ever try to set a boundary, they look at you like you just slapped them, after everything they've done for you. The benevolent controller doesn't see control, they see care. The psychological engine running underneath is often anxiety. If they can manage everyone around them, nothing will go wrong. And because their intentions feel pure to them, the impact on others becomes invisible. Your discomfort registers as ingratitude. Your independence registers as rejection. And because love is the stated motivation, the controlling behavior gets to stay hidden, even from the person doing it. So here's the question worth sitting with. Which of these felt familiar? Not necessarily you, but maybe someone in your life. Maybe a pattern you've noticed. Maybe, if we're being really honest, a moment where you saw a flicker of yourself. That flicker isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to be curious about. Because the one thing that separates someone trapped in these patterns from someone who can grow out of them is not intelligence, not good intentions. It's the willingness to ask the uncomfortable question in the first place. The people in this video can't watch it and see themselves, but you can. If this kind of deep dive into human behavior is your thing, subscribe because there's so much more where this came from. And drop a comment. Which type hit closest to home? Let's actually talk about it.